guys, this is Anthony from VR Roundtable, and I am about to play Driveclub VR for PlayStation VR. I know that I've already done a Let's Play of Driveclub, but that was the demo version, and this is the full version. So we can check out a whole bunch of different tracks in the full version of Driveclub VR. So let's go ahead and check it out.
Okay, so this is the full version of Driveclub VR. I got this from Gamefly, and I wanted to show off some of the different tracks that they have in this game. So let's go ahead and, let me see, I think this is a pretty cool track. Let's try this one. And I got to pick my car here. I got nice red BMW. I got a blue Audi. Silver Mercedes. I got a red Audi, and then I got this BMW. I think I'm gonna go with this BMW right here, and I'll just stick with the stock paint job on it. Okay, so yeah, the one of the cool things about this track is it has this lake. This is the one that I talked about. I believe it was on episode 23 of VR Roundtable. I talked about this track because you do have this lake that is next to you that's pretty cool. So what you do is you get inside the car. Once you're inside the car, you can alter your view. You can raise your view up or down, and you can go back and forth and kind of dial in how it would be if you were in the cockpit. How far away should the steering wheel be? How close should it be? You can try to dial all that in so you get a pretty good feel for it. Look, I got a sunroof. I can look out the sunroof. I can look out my driver's side window. I can look out the windshield, and the car is rendered. It's pretty cool altogether. And so we're going to go ahead and start. Now, like I've said many times before, the graphics for Driveclub VR is not exactly the thing that you want to point to with Driveclub VR, because the graphics are pretty chunky. You'll have a lot of people talk about how the graphics are Nintendo 64 level, and I think that's probably going a little bit overboard. Nintendo 64, I mean, go back and actually play a Nintendo 64 game and then tell me that these graphics are Nintendo 64 level. They're not quite that bad. I would say that they are in the level of maybe a high-end PlayStation 2 game. Not quite PlayStation 3, but a high-end PlayStation 2 game. However, having said all of that, you will also get some particle effects, and there will be some minor little special effects here and there that are from a modern generation, but most of the roadside graphics are probably PlayStation 2 level. Whoa. I don't know what happened there. I lost control of my vehicle, and now it looks like I'm in last place. Not very good. But one of the coolest things about this particular track is you are driving near a river or a lake or something that you're kind of following as you go along, and so out your window in your peripheral vision you see this water over there, and I feel like it adds something extra to the experience. There's something about the water being right there that's really cool. And you get to go over this bridge right here. This is one of the cool moments of Driveclub VR on this particular track. Is see, you go over the bridge, you see the water over there, you see the water over here. Kind of reminds me of driving in the Bay Area, like near Vallejo or something like that. That's kind of the first thing that comes to mind when I look out these windows and take a look at the environment out there. But the cars, you really do get a sense of the feel for these cars and how big they are, and like maneuvering around the cars. So that was really short. I didn't do very good at all. Let's go ahead and let's try, let me see if I can restart that. Let's see, yeah, let's just go ahead and restart this race one more time. And then we'll try a different course. I want to try to see if I can finish better. Talking about the graphics again, now if you look off into the distance, like if you're looking way out there into the distance, that's where you really notice the pixelization. And that's probably going to be your biggest problem with racing games on VR headsets, is looking in the distance. You will notice screen door effect, you will notice extreme pixelization, and it gets really, really blurry. But a lot of the close-up objects, like I just saw a butterfly that was probably inches away from my windshield, and you could actually see a pattern on the butterfly's wings. So you do sometimes get some really cool details that are right up in your face. There's smoke, there's dirt that the tires can kick up, and sometimes you have birds that fly across the roadway, you have butterflies, and sometimes there's debris blowing around, or little flower petals are getting kicked up into the wind. And it's all of this stuff that does add a little bit of an extra effect to it. And it combines with the 3D audio, and the visuals are pretty good. I mean, you're busy, you're trying to drive, you're trying to race, you're trying to get a better time. So you're not necessarily really looking at these roadside environments too long. You know, you're trying to do what you got to do, and you're keeping your eye on the vehicles that are in front of you, and you're trying to keep up with these vehicles. And when you do look off into the horizon, that's where you will notice a lot of pixelization, a lot of screen door effect, and those kinds of things when you look off into the distance. But it's not too bad. I really like this. Look, you can look out there, you can kind of see a sunset, the time of day. There is some shimmering. You can see some shimmering on the railing along this bridge, but just looking out on the water, it's really quite nice. This is one of my favorite tracks that I've encountered so far. I think it really shows off the power of VR, because you can look around through your different windows and kind of get a feel for it. And then when the race is over, they kind of give you this view where you're basically next to the track, and sometimes these cars will shoot by like shoom shoom. You know, the cars will shoot by super fast, and you'll see the debris that's blowing around on the track. You'll see birds that are flying in the air. You can see the electrical wires, smoke coming out of the chimney. There are some decent details that are in this environment, so you know it's pretty decent. But let's go ahead and try a different track. Let's see here. Let's continue the... So we don't want to continue the Kyle Championship. We want to see if we can get out of here. Let's try On Point. I don't remember what On Point is, but let's try this one. We'll try this racer. We'll go with Factory. Cayush Point. Yeah, this is an interesting track and a very interesting vehicle. I mean, look at the seats. How cool is that? Really awesome car. Oops, I want to open the door, and let's get inside this interesting vehicle. So you get a look at the vehicle, you're like, whoa, look at this cool interior. How awesome is it? There's a stick shift right there. The rear view mirror is super cool. And so we're like, okay, this feels pretty good. Let's go ahead and adjust our view. The only problem with this is the ceiling is really low, so you don't really get a huge view of the outdoors in this car. But look at the interesting steering wheel. So we'll go ahead and try this out, see what this is like. But yeah, this is really cockpit view. You're really limited in your view out here. But yeah, see how you see those sparks and stuff like that? There are some nice little visual effects that you get, and sometimes the world that you're driving through can be extremely colorful. Like this track is very colorful. Look at, you see you have those little flower petals that get kicked up into the roadway. You have the lighting. It's a certain time of day. It seems like it's probably like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the afternoon on a summer day. And it's like I'm driving through the Sierra Nevadas, like Lake Tahoe area, not too far from Sacramento. This is what this kind of feels like as I'm looking out on the environment that I'm racing by. But yeah, this is a pretty cool interior here. And well, I got some cars that are racing by me real quick. I'm looking at my rear view mirror. But yeah, this is a really smooth ride on this particular car. This is one of the smoothest driving cars I think I've used so far on Driveclub VR. But right now, all the rage is Dirt Rally. Dirt Rally VR is what everybody's talking about on the PSVR subreddit, and I do want to get my hands on that. At some point, I absolutely want to check out Dirt Rally VR, but I just finally got my hands on the full version of Driveclub VR, so I'm kind of messing around with Driveclub VR right now and having a lot of fun with it. There is a little bit of motion sickness. I have had some problems here and there with motion sickness, but for the most part, I've been able to overcome it, and it doesn't seem to affect me quite as much. So I'm able to do a lot of different races and try out these different tracks, and I really love the fact that there's a lot of different tracks that you can try. Look at this little river stream here. That does look like I'm on my way to Lake Tahoe, because there is a creek that follows Highway 50 on your way to Lake Tahoe, and this actually does look kind of like that a little bit. I don't know where this track is actually really located, but you see the electricity poles, like the telephone wires, and you see some sprinklers going off over there. So there are some nice, cool little details that take this a little bit beyond, say, a PlayStation 2 game, but it is quite pixelated, and didn't do very good. Oh, cool, look at these fireworks going off. Let's go ahead and try that track one more time. We'll do a quick restart on this. The nice thing is when you load a track and then you want to do restart, you can get in the restart pretty quickly. But if I was actually going to try to compete and come in first or second or anything like that against these other cars, I would probably have to redo the same track like 3 or 4 times and kind of get a feel for it, and then I would come in first place when I kind of have a feel for it. But if you're just randomly playing the game trying to show off some of these different levels, I'm probably not going to actually do very good in the race. I'll try to do better on this particular race. Let's see if I can get ahead of these guys at all. And I don't know if I'll let any of these cars behind me pass me up. So a lot of people are buying wheels for their PlayStation VR to use with Dirt Rally and to also use with Driveclub VR. The Thrustmaster T150 is a popular wheel that people are getting, and there's like a Logitech G29 or something like that. There's a Thrustmaster T300, I think it is, which is a much more expensive wheel. But a lot of people are buying these racing wheels and using it because you do get some force feedback with your steering wheel, which adds a little bit to the experience. I've kind of wondered, though, myself personally, that if I'm playing it with a wheel, but if my wheel isn't actually being tracked in the game, I would think there would be this disconnect that would bother me, you know, and like if I'm holding the wheel, is it going to be where I see the wheel on this car? Is it going to be the same distance, or is it going to be closer? You know, how do you line that up? How do you get it so that it feels like the wheel that you're holding in real life and the wheel that you're looking at in VR are both perfectly lined up? If you can get them both perfectly lined up, then I'm sure, and if the wheel turned when you're turning it in the right way, that would be incredibly immersive, and it would add a lot of extra immersion to the overall situation. I just don't know if it really works like that. I wish I knew somebody here locally that had one of these really nice wheels that I could maybe borrow it, or just try their wheel out. Go over there and try Dirt Rally, try Driveclub, and just see, you know, is it really worth it to pay 200, 300, 400 or whatever dollars for one of these steering wheels? I do believe that it would add some immersion, and I think some of these wheels you can use them on the computer and you can use them on PlayStation VR as well. So it's something to consider. If I could find a wheel that I could use for my Vive and also use for PSVR as well, might be something to actually consider. But of course, you start going down that road, and then you start thinking about getting a racing chair, and you know, you want to keep taking it to another level. Okay, so we've upped our level to level 14. We've unlocked this Renault car. I'm going to go ahead and pick that one. Looks pretty sweet. Okay, let's go ahead and hit continue. And let's try a different track here. I'm going to try, let's try this Red Hills Cup. Try this one. Okay, this might be, I wonder if this is the snow level. Let's try, oh, that's a pretty cool Beamer right there. Let's see which one of these vehicles we want to roll with. Oh, I do like this Porsche though. Or is this, wait, no, this is Ferrari. Yeah, I like this Ferrari right here. Let's go ahead and roll with this one, and I'll go ahead and stock paint job. Red Hills Cup. Oh, you know what? This is actually the German track, the Germany track, I believe, that is in the, this is in the demo. So I don't want to do this track because this is in the demo, but I'll go ahead and start this, and then I'll back out of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and quit. Sorry about that. I should really learn which tracks are which. Let's see. Let's go with, let's try Rock You Like a Hurricane. I have no idea what this one's going to be, but let's try this. Okay, there's a cool orange Beamer. Look at this nice green. Almost looks like a Porsche, but slightly different. Okay, I think this is the snow mountain level. Yeah, okay, cool. This is the snow level. I like the look of this level, and it's a very different looking level from a lot of the other levels. So you use your head to kind of choose the different camera viewpoints that you want. Okay, so I'm sitting really low. I want to adjust myself up here. I'm going to go maximum upness, and then you can either go close or back. I'm going to go right about here. Feels pretty good. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this here. I think this is a time trial. So you got the smoke. The smoke effects look pretty good. It almost feels like I'm in Star Wars and I'm driving on Hoth. Oh, I get to race one of my ghosts to try to get a better time. But you can see the snow banks on the side. You get to go over this bridge. Icy cold waters beneath you, and really has a pretty cool look here. I think we're in Norway or something like that. But like right here, when you turn this corner, you know, you got the snow on the side of the road. Of course, if I do look way out there in the distance, I do see a lot of the screen door effect. This is probably, PlayStation VR is actually really good with the screen door because it has a sub-pixel technology which kind of hides the screen door effect more so than, say, the HTC Vive or the Oculus Rift. It's one of the big advantages that PSVR has with the sub-pixel. But because of this game, it's just, this game, they can only do so much with this game. And so when you are looking way off into the distance, you can see that screen door effect. And it does detract a little bit from the overall experience. I mean, you obviously wonder what is it going to be like to play a racing game like this, but when we have just such a higher resolution headset, and when we have more powerful technology driving the headset, it's really going to be fantastic, because already this just has a really cool view, being able to look out any of these windows. You have all these people on their computers that are really into the racing games, and they'll use like a 3-monitor setup and go through all this trouble. You don't really need to go through all this trouble once you add VR to the equation. And another thing about VR that's really cool is the way the sunlight can come in realistically through your windshield, and you can kind of tell that your windshields or your windows are a little bit blurry. They're a little bit dirty and grimy. They need to be cleaned off a little bit. You can see, of course, the birds that fly across the track. There's definitely a lot of shimmering and aliasing that's going on. There's plenty of negative things that you can talk about when you go to the visuals, but the playability, the drivability feels really good. I had a lot of that motion sickness that I had to deal with, but hasn't really affected me in a while. So I think it's just one of these things where you start to get used to it after a while. I totally understand how there's people out there that, oh, I'm supposed to be drifting and stuff. I'm not really a drift guy. I'm supposed to be drifting around those corners, my bad. But you get to go through these tunnels. You know, this is really cool in VR to see this. The audio changes up a little bit. You get kind of a little bit of an echo. But, you know, I'm enjoying this game. I really like Driveclub VR. And I can tell you that if I found, like, if this game is on sale for like $19.99, I'm probably going to go ahead and buy the full version of this game. I have this right now through GameFly, and I'll probably keep it for a little while, try all the different tracks. But if this is ever on a deep discount, $20, I plan on picking up the full version, because there's a lot of different tracks to try. Let's see here if we can try one more track, and then we'll go ahead and call this a play session. Oh, here's Japan. Let's try racing in Japan. It's probably going to be like a drifting thing, which I'm not really into that. Let's see, which one of these vehicles do I want to roll with? I'll try this one here. Let's try a different paint job. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's nice. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna go this one. I like this one. So let's go ahead and see what this course in Japan is like. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Ooh, nighttime. I've actually never done a nighttime race. This is super exciting, guys. I'm trying this. This is the first time I've ever done a nighttime race in VR. This is really cool. I didn't even know that they had nighttime as an option. This is awesome. I don't know if it's too good for the... I don't know if this is very good for the Let's Play, because it might be really dark. But I can tell you that having this headset on and driving around at nighttime, I mean, this is really freaking cool. I thought I was already in love with Driveclub VR as it was, but now you give me this nighttime race. that's one of the cool things they can do with all of these tracks is they can basically change the time of day, and even though it's the same track, it really gives it a different feel. You race it early in the morning, looks completely different than sunset, nighttime, high noon when the sun is out, overcast. The one unfortunate thing about the VR version, Driveclub VR, is as far as I know, there's no weather. So you don't get raindrops. I really would love it to drive in the rain and have the raindrops hitting my windshield. I think that would be super cool. You don't really get that with this game. I wonder if Dirt Rally VR has weather effects in VR, because that would be quite awesome. So yeah, I'm going through some area in Japan, and it's nighttime, and the trackside details are not really too apparent, but it still has a cool feel to it. It's like when I talk about the visuals being like a PlayStation 2 game or a early PlayStation 3 game, a lot of people think, man, that's horrible. Why would you want to play a game like this? But it's being inside the world and feeling like I'm in this car and I'm racing around. This isn't something I get to do normally. I don't have a high-end sports car to be driving around like this. So you got the stars in the sky. Really pretty awesome. Let's see if I can try one more track. That way I can try out a couple of different tracks. Oh, you know what? This is going to continue me on this Japan series. Okay, oh, here's daytime. Let's try this one. I don't know if this is a different track or if it's just a different part of what we just did. But let's go ahead and try this one. Okay. It's nice how the interiors, I'm inside this Ferrari, and you got different steering wheels, different instrument panels, different rear view mirrors. Just really cool. You gotta love the detail that's in this game. And I'm racing around this track. You got some water that's on the outside. You go through tunnels. I can't over emphasize how cool it is to be in a world like this and be racing around and really feel like you're in the car and have these viewpoints where you're going over bridges and you see the different kinds of trees, and there's lots of little objects that blow across the roadway. You got birds and butterflies. It's really quite awesome experience. I highly recommend everybody at least try the demo. Everybody that has a PlayStation VR can at least try the Driveclub demo. And the first time you play it, you might feel really kind of weird, but I highly suggest coming back, trying it out again, and seeing if you like it more the next time if you don't have the motion sickness. Because it seems like this is the kind of game where the more often you play this game, the less the motion sickness is going to bother you. So you kind of have to power through your early sessions with this game, and then you no longer have an issue with motion sickness, and you can play it for hours and hours. So it's not going to work for everybody. There are going to be some people out there that will, the first time they try it, they're going to have a lot of motion sickness, and then they're going to wait a while and try it again, and they're going to have motion sickness, and then the third time they try it, they're going to have motion sickness. And sometimes it's just the way you are. Some people are more susceptible to motion sickness than others, and so it's just the way it is. But I can't stress to you how 3D it is when you have the back end of a car. These cars are really occupying space. It really feels like I'm in this car, I'm driving along, and I have to navigate around these other cars that are occupying physical space, and you have these flower petals that are blowing in the wind. You have the colored smoke along the side of the road, and you have colorful trees and scenery that you drive through. It's all quite impressive. I really can't say enough about Driveclub VR. Alrighty guys, well, I tried a number of different tracks on Driveclub VR, and that's going to go ahead and do it for this play session. Once again, my name's Anthony, and this is VR Roundtable Let's Plays, and this was Driveclub VR, and we'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.